You're listening to the Murder Speaks podcast, the show that spills the tea about true crime. Here's your host, Wendy Hinbest.
Eight-year-old Randi Trimble was found dead inside her home. She had been strangled and stabbed multiple times.
Hey, welcome back to Murder Speaks. Hope everyone's having a great week. So today's real crime story is about 28-year-old Randi Trimble of Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. September 9th, 2000, 25-year-old Randy Peck got married to 24-year-old Brian Trimble. Now, Brian was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. March 2002, 18 months later, they were starting to have issues in their marriage. Randi became controlling because she was worried about Brian's health. Brian ended up getting an IT job. Brian was quiet and introverted. He met a co-worker named Blaine Norris, and they became really good friends. Blaine's dream was to become a movie director. He wanted to make a movie about hikers who got killed one by one on the Appalachian Trail. He showed Brian the location, and Brian agreed to be his cameraman. So Blaine finished the script for the movie, and he held auditions, and he had everything except the money. He needed $20,000 to make the movie. So Brian asked Randi for the money for Blaine to make his movie, and she said no, because she didn't want to use their savings for that. She was saving in case Brian was unable to work. Brian wanted to live on the Appalachians for a week while Blaine was shooting the movie, but Randi didn't want him to do that because of his health. August 2nd, 2002, Blaine and a bunch of actors drove to the Appalachians to film the movie, but there were so many problems. The camera wasn't working properly. They were having problems with audio. Blaine's movie fell behind schedule, and Brian was forbidden from doing the movie, which made him bitter. And because Brian wasn't there, Blaine was the director and the cameraman. This movie put Blaine in debt for $20,000. He put up his home on the market to make the movie, and he maxed out his credit card. 5 days into shooting, his marriage is at its breaking point. 1 week later, his wife left him and took their son with her. Brian wasn't happy with his life. He was tired of Randi being so controlling. The evening of January 10th, 2003, at 8:29 p.m., Randi came home from work like usual. Then, when Brian got home, he found Randi dead in her garage. So we called the police.
I just got home. My wife's on the floor. She's bleeding really bad. Okay, is she conscious? Is she breathing? She's not? Alright, we have someone to wait for you.
And he called his mom and told her Randi was bleeding. She was strangled and stabbed 27 times. Brian Trimble tells police that he was out eating dinner with a friend, and a waitress confirmed that. He tells police he called 911 when he got home and found Randi unresponsive. January 13th, 2003. There was a viewing at the church where they were married, and you can see the stab wounds on her hands. There was no fingerprints and DNA found at the house. Investigators questioned Brian again. This time, hey, don't forget to check out crystalkiss.com for my murder merch. Cool designs for all of you true crime addicts. If you live in the US and buy 3 or more items, you'll get free shipping. Use discount code MURDER15, that's MURDER15, and save 15% on your entire order. Check out my YouTube channel, Murder Speaks. The link is in the show notes. He tells investigators that he nudged Randi's body and stepped over the blood. But when he was questioned the first time, he told the police that he didn't touch her body. So Brian became a suspect. His computer was analyzed, and they found a search for a book called How to Commit a Murder. So they bring him to the police station for questioning. He asks his mother to go to the police station with him. Detectives offer Brian life in prison and no death penalty if he confessed. So Brian asked his mother to leave the room, At that point, she knew he was involved. He tells police Blaine Norris killed his wife, and they planned it together. He took his friend out for dinner so he would have an alibi. And while he was having dinner, Blaine killed Randi. And he would give Blaine the money he needed for his movie. The police execute a search warrant, and they find a receipt in Blaine's car for things he purchased. They found a knife, black clothing, and gloves. And the knife matched the wounds found on Randi's body. Brian wanted to leave Randi, but he didn't want to put her through a divorce. Blaine Norris pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison. Brian Trimble was also sentenced to life in prison. Brian remains incarcerated at SCI Benner Township in Bellefonte, Pennsylvania. And Blaine is currently incarcerated at SCI Somerset in Somerset, Pennsylvania. Wow, he didn't want to put her through divorce, so he took her life instead? And now he's in jail for the rest of his life? That makes a lot of sense. This is just terrible. I mean, they weren't even married that long. They were married for what, less than 2 years? Just terrible. Everyone out there who knew Randi Trimble and who was related to her, I'm very sorry for your loss. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Murder Speaks. Please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I put links to all of my socials in the description notes. Don't forget to check out my store, Crystal Kiss, for some murder merch. I have some new merch up there. And check out my YouTube channel, Murder Speaks, for more real crime stories. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe. Join me again on Murder Speaks. Thanks. Bye.